So hi, my name is Kira, and I'm an occupational therapist assistant student. Do you know what occupational therapy is?
No.
Alright, so occupational therapy is just us therapists working with you to improve your day-to-day activities. It can be anything or the whole entire day that you would like to improve after an injury, or just what you were born with, or just a bunch of different things that we help to work to improve your day and your independence in your day. Alright, and so today we're going to be working on some range of motion and some manual muscle testing. So range of motion is just seeing how much you can move around a joint in the full available range of motion, whether an injury can cause you to have decreased range of motion and stuff like that. And then manual muscle testing is just testing to see how much your muscles have strength to do that same range of motion around the joint. So first we can get started with range of motion. So we're gonna go back here for you. I'm gonna have you start off in a neutral position. And I'm gonna be working on doing your supination and pronation. Not just moving your wrist up and moving your wrist facing down. So first we're gonna start off with moving your wrist facing down like that. So we'll do some passive range of motion. I'll just see how far I can get to move. So you have a full 80 degrees of passive range of motion. Full 80 degrees. All right, now we're going to start measuring it. Move it like this. And we're going to see if you can get it all the way to that 80 degrees again. So you go ahead and move it. And I'm going to follow you. There you go. Just follow you down. Keep you lined up with the pencil. Perfectly, the full 90 degrees to 80 degrees. Perfect. And get your right back and start it up straight. And now we're just going to be having you turn your wrist up. You click, you have the full 80 to 90 degrees of range of motion passive. So now you go to move it down. There we go. So you also have another full 80 to 90 degrees. A full 90 degrees it looks like. Perfect. Got it all lined up with a pencil. And now we're going to work on manual muscle testing. All right, so now that we can work on that. So this is just going to be testing the strength. So you were able to get full active range of motion. You loosen your grip a little bit. So since you were able to get full active range of motion, we can now move over to adding resistance. So so say you're trying to move your wrist down, I'm going to be trying to move your wrist up. And basically, whichever way I'm trying to move your wrist, just don't let me move it with my hand, okay? So 1, 2, 3. All right, let's try that one more time. I did it a little funky. All right, so we can try again. Looks like, all right, so looks like you did get full active range of motion, but since I was able to apply resistance and you weren't able to withstand any of that resistance and keep your wrist staying straight, I'm going to have to give you a score of 3. So now that we've just done that with with supination, we can now move on to pronation. So you're going to have your wrist starting in neutral. I'm going to be trying to move your wrist back, and I just want you to not let me move your wrist back. So 1, 2, 3. All right. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay. So looks like you also weren't able to withstand any resistance of this one as well. So it's going to give you another score of 3 for manual muscle testing. Now we're going to move on to talking more about the muscles that are used inside the arm for that supination and the pronation. So you move your arm all the way up here, and or you can relax. Okay. So we use a couple different muscles while doing supination. We use the biceps brachii, the brachioradialis, and the supinator muscles. And the main prime mover of these muscles is the biceps brachii, and how it works for the origin and insertion of this prime mover is the origin is the short head of the coronary process of the scapula, and the long head is the supraonoid tubercle of the scapula. And the insertion is just the tuberosity of the radius and the aponeurosis of the biceps brachii. So that is just that. And then that is for supination, but also for pronation. You can go ahead and relax your arm now. For pronation, what is the different movers? Can be the pronator teres, the pronator quadratus, and lastly the brachioradialis. And so the prime mover of that is the pronator teres. And for the origin insertion of that, we got the common flexor tendon from the medial epicondyle of the humerus and the coronal process of the ulna. And the insertion is the middle of the lateral surface of the radius. So thank you so much for allowing me to do this range of motion and manual muscle testing on you today.